The 25th Amendment to the Constitution is now becoming a real issue, swirling around President Trump's COVID diagnosis.
Nancy Pelosi unveiling a new bill to create a congressional commission to evaluate the president. WGN's Julian Cruz joining us now with more on the proposal and how the president is taking it.
Well, Mike and Ray, as you can imagine, the president not happy about this. Even though this is not likely to get any Republican votes, Congress is not in session, and Republican legislators certainly not in support of this measure. But Donald Trump, nonetheless, firing back on his critics, doing a number of radio and TV interviews today. Democrats are proposing legislation to create a special commission to examine the president's mental and physical fitness to serve.
A president's fitness for office must be determined by science and facts.
What happens if a president, any president, ends up in a coma or on a ventilator and has made no provisions for the temporary transfer of power?
U.S. Representative Jamie Raskin, a former constitutional law professor at American University, and the Democratic Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, introducing the new bill. A bill that's unlikely to garner Republican support, but it is certainly getting the attention of President Donald Trump, who tweeted, "Crazy Nancy is the one who should be under observation. They don't call her crazy for nothing." But Democrats say it's the president showing worrisome signs. With coronavirus infections still surging across the country, Trump angering many doctors this week, declaring there's now a cure for COVID-19, a claim the president repeated this afternoon on the Rush Limbaugh show.
We're rounding the turn on the pandemic, and I'll have something to say about that because I'm telling you, we have a cure.
The speaker questioning Trump's fitness for office, pointing to mood-altering medications he's said to have received at Walter Reed Hospital. Critics pointing to what they describe as erratic behavior, evidenced most recently, they say, by Trump's explosive interview yesterday on Fox Business, where he referred to Democratic vice presidential nominee Kamala Harris as a monster.
And this monster that was on stage with Mike Pence, who destroyed her last night, by the way.
Congress, through concurrent votes in the House and the Senate, could direct the commission to conduct a medical exam of the president.
Pelosi arguing that it's Congress's sacred duty to protect the Constitution and America's democracy. The assassination of John F. Kennedy more than half a century ago, the impetus behind the 25th Amendment, passed by Congress and ratified by the states, providing a framework for replacing a president in the event of death, removal, resignation, or incapacitation. But critics say it requires action by the vice president and the cabinet. Pelosi and others say Congress needs a mechanism to intervene. The proposed congressional 16-member commission with one chairman able to take urgent action, legislators say, if the country finds itself on the verge of chaos.
The 25th Amendment is designed to guarantee the continuing peaceful transfer of power in our country.
The New York Times reporting that Trump plans to make his first public appearance tomorrow since contracting the virus. Trump said to be inviting hundreds to the White House lawn, and on Monday, the president returns to the campaign trail, holding a rally Monday in Sanford, Florida, just north of Orlando. Micah?
All right, Julian.